Hey guys, I'm Aaron from Chef Canic and we're here today again with Mitch from Mission Impossible.
Hey guys.
Today we're going to be talking about Dragon Altar that is in Cadia Riverlands. As we know, Cadia Riverlands is basically the Asia of the Land of Dawn. It may seem a bit racist, but again, we're both Asian so I guess that's okay. There are many Chinese and Japanese related heroes, but today we're going to be talking about Dragon Altar and the rich history it has.
The dragon altar is the more Chinese related one with Zilong and Ling, right?
Yes, Zilong would be the poster boy of Dragon Altar after all. So when people think of Dragon Altar, they see Zilong. But he's not the only hero from Dragon Altar. The heroes we associated with Dragon Altar are not all from Dragon Altar as well. The few that grew up in the actual Dragon Altar would be Zilong, Baxia, Ling, and Zhong.
So Wan Wan and Yi did not grow up in the dragon altar.
Not really. They were there during the events of the Return of the Black Dragon, but they did not grow up in the Dragon Altar. Wan Wan was taken into the Dragon Altar after the events of the Return of the Black Dragon, and during the events of the Oriental Fighters Assemble. Yi, on the other hand, is a cultist of the Order of the Black Dragon, who waits the return of their master, the Black Dragon.
So the Order of the Black Dragon was basically a cult dedicated to bringing back the Black Dragon, yes?
Pretty much.
And the dragon altar is located in Cadia Riverlands.
Yes, it is located in Cadia Riverlands. And one thing about Dragon Altar is that one of the artifacts that was sealed in the Dragon Altar, it would be the reverse scale of the Black Dragon. Dragon Altar was founded and guarded by its warriors. And this is the primary goal of the Dragon Altar.
Now we will be exploring a few disciples of the Great Dragon. The earliest disciples of the Great Dragon were Baxia and Zhong. Zhong is the reincarnation of the Black Dragon, and it was visible even by his physical appearance. He had small horns on his head. He was taken in as a disciple of the Great Dragon along with Baxia. They had fun and trained together and even got in trouble together. Baxia was a brother to him. Zhong always wanted to see the world and travel, but it was forbidden by the Great Dragon. As they grew older, Baxia helped snuck Zhong out of the dragon altar one night to help him achieve his goals of traveling the world. But Baxia was later punished by the Great Dragon for his disobedience. But in his heart, he was happy that he helped his brother achieve his dream. Years later, Zhong returned to the dragon altar, but he was not the same as before. His ideologies were different, and arguments between him and the Great Dragon grew more. Zhong was tired and disagreed with the ideas of peace that the Great Dragon believed in. But one day, as they were arguing, a physical fight broke out. That day, he sensed a darkness within Zhong. With Zhong's murderous intent, Baxia had to interfere. As Baxia struck the unexpected Zhong was sent flying off the dragon altar. He looked on the side of the dragon altar, and there was Zhong, hanging onto a statue with one hand. As he saw Baxia, he finally said, "Baxia, you've become stronger." Zhong let go of the statue and fell into the mist below.
And the second generation of the Great Dragon's disciples are Ling and Zilong. Zilong is the son of a craftsman who drifted through the land. Zilong always remembered his father traveling north and south every year while his mother held the hands of her children. But one day on their travels, a great wind struck, and while the horses pulled, they were separated. When Zilong woke up, he was alone in the mountains of the Cadia Riverlands. For 7 days he wandered, but never giving up on hope of survival. On the 7th day, he came across a wise old man who led him to a mysterious place. This was Dragon Altar. The Great Dragon, who had not taken in any apprentice for years, surprisingly took Ling and Zilong as his students. Ling was also an apprentice of the Great Dragon who fought and trained beside Zilong. They were brothers in arms. But on the day, the Great Dragon held a match to decide who would be the successor of the Dragon Spear. Zilong and Ling fought. Even though Zilong lost, the Great Dragon chose Zilong to be the successor of the Dragon Spear, as he believed that while the strongest is content with his strength, It is always the underdog who never gives up and pushes towards their goals. But Ling left the dragon altar filled with hate and swearing revenge. He trained with all his might and eventually became one of the deadliest assassins in the Land of Dawn. He was now the Sion Finch.
As we know, the main villain in the story of the Dragon Altar is Zhong, but he was also the one that taught Kung Fu to Wan Wan. In the Cadia Riverlands, there is a clan of people that are formidable in combat and craftsmen known as the Tangmen. Wan Wan's father was the leader of the Tangmen, but as people use their weapons for evil, he disbanded the Tangmen and exiled himself to the forest along with his daughter. One day, while Wan Wan was wandering around the forest, she was about to be attacked by a pack of wolves. But out of nowhere, a stranger appeared and knocked the beasts out. Zhong saved her. He then collapsed on the spot. Wan Wan noticed that he was injured and was fighting someone. Wan Wan, along with the help of her father, nursed Zhong back to health. And in his spare time, Zhong taught Wan Wan Kung Fu that he had learned from the Dragon Altar. But one night, as they were under the moonlight, Zhong gave the primordial spirit to Wan Wan and told her that it was his time to leave. But before he left, he reminded her that in her time of need, he will be there.
And now we're going to cover the story of Lu Yi. Her story is a bit more complicated as she is the leader of the new order of the Black Dragon. Lu Yi believed heavily in the ideologies of her father, and with a goal in her mind to rebuild the order of the Black Dragon. She wandered the lands looking for the descendants of the Order of the Black Dragon, but they have been so buried in civilian life that they had become numb. Only a handful of them still remember their goal to rebuild the Order of the Black Dragon. With the few people, she set out to find the reincarnation of the Black Dragon. But one day, she found Zhong, who was the incarnation of the Black Dragon. At the time, Zhong was far too young and immature. She told Zhong about his past life, but as she saw the hesitation in Zhong's eye, she knew he wasn't ready. Zhong at the time did not believe her as he lashed out and they fought. She left Zhong with the final words, "My master, we will leave you be. The truth is close at hand, but remember, you will lose everything and you will come to find me." And Zhong came back to find Lu Yi when he accepted his past and finally made a plan to get the reverse scale. From that moment onwards, Lu Yi and her followers stayed by Zhong's side, helping him get stronger and reminded him of his past life and what he has to achieve.
So, Loi is the only true ally of the Black Dragon.
She helped Zhong during his attempt to get the reverse scale, and also she now serves him.
Alright, so now we will be covering the events of the return of the Black Dragon. There were actually two people that helped Zhong break into the Dragon Altar. That would be Ling and Loi. But when the Black Dragon was taking over, Wan Wan was the person who got Zhong stabilized again. The return of the Black Dragon was mainly done by Loi and Zhong, but other people such as Ling and Wan Wan were involved. So now we will be covering how each person were involved in the return of the Black Dragon. First, we have Zilong. At the time, Zilong was already the successor of the Great Dragon's spear and was the protector of the Dragon Altar. Next, we have Ling. Ling, along his journey, met Zhong. As they were taken, Zhong told Ling about how he wanted to break into the Dragon Altar. Although hesitant, he helped Zhong into his thirst for revenge against Zilong and the Great Dragon. Ling appeared at the entrance of the Dragon Altar in the mist, while Zilong spotted him. Ling, in his anger, swung his sword at Zilong. His main goal was to prove to Zilong and the Great Dragon that he was stronger than Zilong. But in their battle, he noticed that the fire in Zilong had grown stronger, and Zilong was no longer the weak warrior he once defeated. And lastly, we have Wan Wan. Wan Wan hasn't seen Zhong for years, but she heard that Zhong was trying to take over the Dragon Altar and conquer the Cadia Riverlands. She couldn't believe what she had heard, and in her heart she believed that the Yuzhong she once knew could not be the heinous person that everyone says he is. With that thought in her mind, she reached the dragon altar.
And now we will be covering the events of the return of the Black Dragon on how it actually happened.
Luo Yi, being the loyal follower who believed in the return of the Black Dragon, teleported Yuzhong into the dragon altar. She and Yuzhong successfully unsealed the reverse scale. At that moment, a loud noise gathered everyone around. The reverse scale noticed Yuzhong as the reincarnation of the Black Dragon and binded with him. But the reverse scale was devouring Yuzhong and taking over him, turning him into a humanoid dragon form. As the lights calmed down, she approached the hulking dragon in front of her, but it was no longer Yuzhong. She was struck with the creature's fist and was sent flying. In this chaos, Wan Wan watched as Zilong, Baxia, and Ling attempted to stop the Black Dragon, but they were defeated easily. Wan Wan couldn't bear watching what Yuzhong was doing. She threw the primordial spirit to Yuzhong and it drove him away from insanity, and he became stable again, turning him back into a human. But he didn't reject the reverse scale in him. Now he has the spirit of the Black Dragon, the reverse scale, and the primordial spirit. With this, he turned into his dragon form, rising up at the sky, looking down upon the Cadia Riverlands, the land he will conquer.
As Yuzhong turned back into his human form, he was confronted again by Baxia, Ling, and Zilong. As they tried to fight him, Wan Wan couldn't do anything but watch. She had believed what she had heard now. Yuzhong had finally become the person she feared. But they were no match for him. As Ling and Zilong was blasted away, Baxia came back from behind to strike Yuzhong with his shield. But Yuzhong suddenly turned and landed a blow on Baxia's stomach. And with a final word he said to Baxia, "You have grown weak, brother."
So Luo Yi teleported Yuzhong and his followers away from the dragon altar. But our Oriental fighters knew that the Black Dragon would be back, and they must protect Cadia Riverlands.
So that's all for today, and we will see you guys again in the next video, where we will be covering the Scarlet Shadow. For the next video, this was actually requested by Mich, as one of her favorite heroes is Hanabi. Please like and subscribe to our channels, and please share it with your friends. Bye guys.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently, it could build and build until you find